चलिए
शुरू करे as ordered by Ricky Patel. शुरू कर दिया हमने. तेरा सुरूर करके. Indeed. So the day after what was a very, very disappointing loss in the first T20I, India versus New Zealand, we thought that India still held the edge, right? I mean, playing at home with a batting lineup. See, experience, inexperience, maybe. With all the players having played so much IPL.
And plenty of firepower, really.
Plenty of firepower. You'd think that, okay, even when New Zealand's best came in 2021 also and in the past, they would have at least managed to not defend that total of 177. But you saw a batting collapse. Many people have pinned the blame down on Arshdeep Singh. Okay, that 27 runs
and then
in the last over, plus playing out a maiden over, but everybody forgets that Mitchell Santner bowled a maiden over to Surya Kumar Yadav in the last over of the power play. That was game defining. I mean, imagine, I think, to keep the best batsman on the earth down.
Best T20I player.
Best T20I player by a country mile down in the power play when he was looking to attack. Speaks volumes of Mitchell Santner's thing. So, Ishan Kishan failed. Shubman Gill failed. The onus was left on Hardik Pandya and Surya Kumar Yadav.
Also Rahul Tripathi.
But Tripathi also floundered. He couldn't play the swing of Jacob Duffy.
At all.
And on top of that, if you look at it, even Deepak Hooda, he also could not get going.
That shot which he got out on was a horrible shot.
Exactly.
Politely.
But in the case of Deepak Hooda, you may say, see, I had argued that patchy thing. Okay, right. Ishan Kishan, why did he get a dip after the Bangladesh thing? One, he couldn't get many chances. Yeah. Because other good players were waiting in the wings who were anyway going to come back.
Correct.
So when you come back, you will be patchy. Deepak Hooda, patchy. How much has he played?
But he has played.
He did play the previous series,
He was playing the Sri Lanka T20s. In
But
the
he played
ODIs, he's never been in the scheme of
He
things
played
because
Sri Lanka, he played
New Zealand.
he played New Zealand, even
and Bangladesh.
No, did he play Bangladesh?
No, he didn't play Bangladesh.
He didn't play
Because
Bangladesh.
Bangladesh there was only ODIs, no?
Oh yeah.
Yes. So, but then, okay, he had...
New Zealand he did.
Yeah, he played
He got
in
a
New
4 for
Zealand.
there.
He got a 4 there. So, that is there. Okay, but again, as far as I'm saying, bowling is okay, but batting... What about the batting for Deepak Hooda? Not yet set the stage on fire when it comes to T20Is.
In internationals, he had that 1 century in Ireland, and that seems like a lifetime ago.
That seems, and that too, opponents, no disrespect,
but Ireland.
Ireland, unfortunately. Then you are left with only 3 batters in that entire Indian batting lineup core. Washington Sundar, Surya Kumar Yadav, Hardik Pandya.
And bear in mind, even Washington Sundar, not a nailed-on starter.
Yes.
Because you have an Akshar Patel there, and you have a certain Jadeja who's just waiting in the wings to come back into the side.
Exactly. And Washington Sundar did mention in that press conference that he did after the match that yes, you need practice to be a finisher.
Yeah, of course.
Now,
but he's to be fair, the only silver lining, let's say, that we have from yesterday's match has
was
been the way
Washington
he pushed
Sundar.
it. Remember, he did bowl decently, if I'm not wrong, in the
2
power
wickets.
He got those 2 wickets in that one over.
And that's why Hardik
with the
Pandya
bat as
said...
well. Not the first time, by the way, that we saw, let's say, late push from him. The sad part with him is, and it's going to be the case, I think, going forward as well with Washington Sundar. Yes, we saw him get some runs right towards the end, and we've seen that happen, like, I think, the 3rd time now in a matter of 8 to 10 weeks now. But that's going to be the thing with him. Firstly, he won't always get you that many runs, and when he does, you'll feel that, oh, we wanted him to come up top because the batting order floundered. But that's going to be the thing with him. He is always going to come in very late. So it's this 30-40 run cameo on good days from him that you can expect at the best.
Also, the additional thing is that are you going to be playing him that much? I don't see it happening because unfortunately, again, Jadeja, as of now, still remains an undisputed first choice across formats. Yeah. And Akshar Patel will also be like, what have I done wrong? Because again, against Sri Lanka, he was pounding runs for fun.
And also, he performed very well in the Test series and the ODI series against Bangladesh.
In T20Is, the ball also is pretty decent.
He was very decent.
Defended, I think, 11-12 runs in the last over first
in that Mumbai game.
Yeah,
but he did.
And prior to that, he had a good series against Australia in the T20Is. He had a very good series before the T20 World Cup. So that's why I think the T20 World Cup dented his confidence. But see, it was Sundar versus New Zealand. That's what Hardik Pandya mentioned in the presentation. It was Sundar versus New Zealand for his all-round skills. But now, the batting woes has now forced us to have this topic today.
This conversation.
This conversation that we are going to have about, should India bring back the likes of KL Rahul, Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli into the T20I mix? And I'm not saying this.
Jasprit Bumrah.
We'll come back. We'll come back.
He's a shoe-in. He's a shoe-in. Everybody's
Yeah, of course,
a
we're
shoe-in.
talking about the batting lineup.
But why are we saying this? Because can India go into the 2024 T20 World Cup without either 2 or 3 of these? That is the question we are looking at, because you are also not including a certain Rishabh Pant in the mix. Also,
See, with Pant, of course, with regards to Pant, I think it's a wait and watch situation, and perhaps I think yes, you do have a situation. Let's say on your on your hands right now with regards to the senior players, the others that you named, except Rishabh Pant. But with Pant, of course, it's a different case now altogether, I would say. So maybe Pant doesn't quite fit into this conversation right now. Yes, for all purposes, we can go ahead and talk about him from a cricketing point of view. But for all practical purposes, he isn't, I think, one of those players that you're going to be now looking at for the next 8 to 10 months, again, depending on how.
because see, why I will add another dimension into this. Because if you get Virat, Rohit and KL back into the mixture, you have the likes of Sanju Samson, Prithvi Shaw, Yashasvi Jaiswal, Rituraj Gaikwad, all of them who have been waiting in the wings.
Yeah.
Will they continue to wait in the wings?
So then they'll be waiting further in the wings, because remember,
Jagadeeshan as well.
Jagadeeshan not
probably
in the T20 for him, maybe in the ODI.
ODI.
But
Maybe
he did well in the Vijay Hazare.
He has a case. Again, that's just to say that, of course, there will be too many players.
You already
in
have too
the
many
wings.
players. You know why? Because all the players you mentioned right now, none of them are in the playing 11.
Yes.
If these 3 guys come back, they're walking back into the playing 11, which means along with the 4 you mentioned, what then happens to Ishan Kishan? Potentially, maybe a Shubman Gill. What happens to Rahul Tripathi? These are the guys who are coming in essence. These are the ones who are replacing.
And remember, Rahul Tripathi had to warm the bench for almost half of the globe.
Pretty much the whole of 2022.
He got selected for the first time against Ireland and then didn't get a chance
Again,
throughout 2022.
Exactly.
I think that was his first call-up.
His first call-up, then he went to Zimbabwe as well, was part of the India team for the South Africa ODIs, because we were playing a second string team,
Yeah.
didn't get a game there. You know?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
he's really waited his chance.
But because what has happened is, see, what if the experiment with Ishan Kishan fails? Okay, number 1. Number 2, what if Shubman Gill is not an automatic fit in the T20I setup?
Then
ODIs and tests, there's no problem.
Yeah.
I think Shubman is going to feature very
Tests.
prominently in that. Tests again, the KL Rahul
not sure.
conundrum.
We're
But I
not
think,
sure.
but he's going to be part of the setup. Maybe not the
Setup,
11, but
yes.
15 he has to be
Setup,
there.
of
He will be
course.
there.
Setup, of
Okay.
course.
What happened? Because see, in the Ranchi T20I, you saw a glimpse of one potential problem area that you had in the T20I setup: lack of batting.
I wouldn't say lack of batting, that's a lack of experience batting.
Experienced batting.
Experienced batting.
See,
Correct.
Tripathi at number 3. He came at number 3, right? Rahul
he did,
Tripathi.
he did.
You need someone with a very, very good technique to counter some swing or pace. Tripathi didn't have that in Ranchi.
He has
unfortunately.
intent aplenty, yes, but
Those
he looks
outswing.
very fidgety against the outswingers.
See, Jacob Duffy is not an out pacer. He's not 145, 150. Simple 128, 130 kmph, simple Kiwi pace. The 3/4 length, swinging it away. He just fiddled and that's it. 6-ball duck. So Tripathi, Ishan Kishan, Shubman Gill. 3 problems in the T20 setup. Because even if you look at Shubman Gill in the T20Is,
He's underwhelmed at times.
he's underwhelmed a tad. Okay, a tad. I'm just saying a tad because in
It's because
ODIs.
he's only played 4 T20Is.
Yep.
So you have to be a little patient.
Exactly. So we can be a bit patient now, but how much will we run that patience factor? Because after this is your last T20I series until June.
But I think you've got to. You really have no chance over here, or you don't have an alternative over here, I would say. Why? Because first things first, you're looking at the World Cup, which is good 12 months from now, or maybe 14, 15 months from now.
18 months from now, yeah.
Exactly. So there is still time aplenty with regards to the timeline, let's say. So you're in no rush really to jump to conclusions. Two, of course, is the fact that you have just brought a few of these players into the mix now, including the likes of Rahul Tripathi. So 4 match, 5 match, 6 match, or maybe like 3 series, which would on an average be about 9 to 10 matches, which it should be 3 T20I series. Maybe then you can just reflect back on how these inclusions, the likes of Rahul Tripathi and Umran and all of the others, how it's really turning out to be. Deepak Hooda slotting in, Washington Sundar slotting in place of your experienced players like Virat and Rohit and whatnot. Only then perhaps, and which by the way could be a call that we may not be able to take, let's say even till the halfway stage of this year, because you're barely playing any more T20s.
Correct.
Focus is going to be on ODI cricket now. So I would say time is of essence over here. Why? Because you need to be patient and stop asking too many questions at the moment. Maybe for now, you can't just keep chopping and changing because it didn't work out well in Ranchi. We know, and that's the thing with inexperienced players and youngsters, let's say, that at times you will get results, and there could be an equal number of times when you don't get this result. But the good thing for India right now is you're under no pressure to just deliver immediately. You have the time to give these youngsters time to bloom, time to get into their best, because you're training them for the big thing that's happening next year.
Okay, see, next year, fine, absolutely agreed. But what if this current crop of players, we are just looking at a potential what if. Suppose I am here deliberating the future of Indian cricket. It's August of 2023. August of 2023. My T20 World Cup is about 10 to 11 months away. Okay. Okay. Ishan hasn't lived up to potential. Okay. After the ODI World Cup, which will be from December onwards, we'll be playing into T20I mode all over again. Okay. After the ODI World Cup, we will know the status of Rohit and Virat. How many formats are they going to play in the next coming years?
That, by the way, if you ask me, will be a real turning point of sorts if let's say they are brought back into the setup, because right now with whatever Rohit himself has said, and given how Team India has been in the past, you never know if they just throw a googly right there, right towards the end, and they're like, okay, we're going to bring back.
We saw what happened with Ashwin last year.
Exactly. Out of nowhere, you see him drafted into
there is
West Indies.
There is already a googly. I'll tell you why. Remember the press conference that Rahul Dravid did? He has no idea whether it's split captaincy.
Yeah.
And we all know that there has been a trend that a certain MS Dhoni had established, that split captaincy never works
in
India. Either Hardik Pandya is a temporary, you may say he's a caretaker of the throne.
Pandya?
Yeah. We don't know that with certainty. Whether he makes way.
Caretaker coach is one thing, caretaker captain is something.
Quite another thing.
It can happen in India, because see, okay, the T20 fortunes will take another major twist when we look at the IPL. What if Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli and KL Rahul all answer each and every critic? Okay, for example, Shane, what if?
KL Rahul for years now has been having 500 plus.
I know.
He answers his critics in the IPL and gives them ammunition in ICC tournaments.
But see, you have been saying that for KL Rahul in the IPL, his major problem is strike rate, right?
No, his strike. No, it's not.
See,
big game.
No, you could say.
To be fair, he barely played any big games with Punjab Kings. Last year he played one big game with Lucknow.
Again, it depends from what school of thought you come from. If you're looking for somebody who gives you runs consistently throughout the season as a franchise, let's say, and you're okay with him operating as an opener at a strike rate of 135, 140.
That's a perfectly good strike rate.
That's very good strike rate.
Especially if he gets you 500 odd runs. Yeah.
Exactly. I would take that, let's say, if I were the franchise owner.
Would I take it as an Indian team selector, though, knowing what he does in ICC tournaments?
Yes, that is where the thing becomes very tricky. Or would you rather, let's say, have a Prithvi showcase and expect KL Rahul to play that kind? Or a brand of cricket.
160 strike rate, get 400 runs.
Yeah, that I'll be okay with, let's say, lesser number of runs, but you give me those runs in, quick time. But he's not that player.
Yeah.
Okay, because see, Rohit has struggled in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Be it IPL or be it international cricket, okay? Yes, he did hit a century in Indore.
No, we're talking T20I cricket.
But T20I as of now, okay, Rohit has struggled. Virat has looked great.
Virat actually is the only player I think you can make a case for coming back from these.
Coming back, exactly.
The only player, and even there, by the way, I have one player who I would bring in ahead of him if you really want to look ahead. Shreyas Iyer.
Yeah.
But Shreyas and Surya in the same team.
Yeah, why not? Play.
But then you can't play Tripathi then.
Exactly, no. That's
Maybe-
Tripathi
then-
right now looks a bit.
Maybe then you'll have to play Shreyas at number 3
Yes,
and
correct.
Surya
Then you can tell
because
Shreyas-
got Hardik at 5, probably Jadeja in at 6 and a Washi then at 7.
Or don't forget your wicket. Yeah, correct. So they give or take
Perhaps a
that.
Huda as well could fit in.
Yeah, but Huda, I think at 3, actually Huda at 3 wouldn't be the worst
Or maybe a
option.
Samson,
You know why?
who's always an option.
Exactly, you have. It's not like you don't have options. That's why I'm saying if Kohli is the only player I could make a case for, but I'd still not want to go back. Because it's too early. Too early. You're
yes.
4 matches into a heralded new era.
Yeah.
And you can't be talking about going back just yet. I mean, I understand as fans, we always talk about things. If we didn't, none of us would be sitting here. But I think it's too soon right now. Because quite frankly, and again, as we say, with Indian cricket, things can change in a hurry. No one expected DK to get a comeback.
Because you're too soon can actually be too late. That is the situation in Indian cricket at this point in time. Now, I'm just going
Then
to...
you expect these players to play Syed Mushtaq as well.
No.
Play Syed Mushtaq,
Syed
play your
Mushtaq.
heart out in the IPL. Maybe those 2 tournaments will then become, let's say, your parameter for you to make a conclusion, let's say.
So again, look, why I'm Syed Mushtaq Ali is your feeder system to the IPL. From there you get players who play the IPL.
Correct.
Now again, if Rohit, KL and Virat have an excellent IPL, suppose Virat Kohli has a phenomenal IPL, he helps RCB win the title.
Is Sala Cup naam de.
E Sala Cup naam de this time. Okay, number 1. Number 2. Would you want to
actually be saying that for Indian cricket now? Actually, that
We
holds
can
true for
actually.
Indian cricket now also.
E Sala Cup naam de?
Yeah.
Maybe that can happen tomorrow.
Yes.
Maybe it can happen
Yes.
tomorrow in the Under 19 World Cup.
We
But
hope it does.
See, what if every player that is not there in the current mix does well in the IPL and Hardik, God forbid, but he doesn't manage to defend the title with Gujarat Titans and has a bad season? What do you do then? Because
The
every
odds will
single
grow.
time.
See, but I think the thing with Hardik Pandya is because of what we've seen from him over a sustained period, which is, let's say, him coming back, then winning the title, playing crucial knocks for India.
His bowling
or
too.
Bowling with the new ball. Even, let's say, also because of the place where he fits in, you don't have a lot of people in that slot. Let's say number 5, somebody who can be handy with the new ball now, and let's say possibly give you 3 overs. He's not bowling his quota of 4 also at times. There aren't many options in there at number 5. So the kind of role that he performs, I think he somehow is, let's say, a guarantee or somebody who has immunity right now, let's say.
Yeah, he does. Because again, I can't think of a single player who does the exact same role as him. The closest would be Shardul, but he leaks runs.
Shardul, and possibly if somebody like a Shivam Dube has a maverick season.
Shivam Dube stopped bowling after last year's IPL. What is that? How many runs he went for in the 19th over?
34 runs he went
34.
for. No, not 19.
Not 34. It was the 19th over only, and he went for about 20 odd runs.
The
For CSK.
Miller,
Oh, yeah.
With Miller attack.
No, that was Jordan who went for runs.
No, there was one match.
One
where
more
Shivam
match,
Dube
Shivam
also went
Dube
for runs.
in
Miller
Brabon.
was taken,
Brabon, LSG. I guess the game is LSG.
So, guys, let us know which is the match where Shivam Dube got tonked. I remember there was one match
Yeah,
very clearly.
I think it was LSG.
Yeah.
CSK versus LSG,
Quite
where
possibly.
Gambhir was seen fist pumping. Remember that celebration? Yeah. See, we are just discussing this topic. Let me give you a broader context of it. Why? Because now this is going to be your last series before the IPL.
Correct.
Okay, T20 series. I'm saying after June, when everything ends, the IPL ends. Supposing Virat, Rohit, KL have outstanding IPLs, and the young brigade of Ishan Kishan, Rituraj Gaikwad, Shubman Gill, Rituraj Gaikwad, I had mentioned, Sanju Samson, all of them have very underwhelming IPLs. Then what do you do?
But will all of them have underwhelming IPLs in the same year?
Maybe. See, Sanju Samson had the good
He had
IPL.
multiple underwhelming IPLs.
Ishan Kishan has had. Rituraj Gaikwad also, if you look at it in 2022, didn't set the stage on fire.
Neither did
But the
Prithviraj.
previous year he did. But the previous year he did.
Previous years he did.
But even 2020 and 21 was second half of the season.
Exactly. He didn't set the stage on fire.
I think the second leg of the IPL really helped him.
21, yeah.
21. It did work out well for him in the first half, but when the tournament was taken to the UAE, that's when things worked out really well for him.
So that is why all these youngsters can have bad IPLs. Then will the seniors want to assert themselves back in? That is the main reason. And look, if you want batting experience, and more importantly, everybody saying move on, move on, move on. But do you think, knowing the dynamics of Indian cricket, can you afford to just not play all the three in 2024 T20 World Cup? Simple.
I think you can. I think you can.
See, if you
The only player,
the one more,
again, like
the one
Shane
more
said.
question that I will add, and you can add your take on it. If you get these three back, how unfair is it for the other players who are waiting in the wings, like a Prithvi Shaw, like a Sanju Samson, like a Nishan Kishan, Rituraj Gaikwad, all those guys? How unfair will it be on them? So
Harshad, you go first.
Harshad, you go first.
So I'd say that I would stick to what we have right now and not want to look back for two key reasons. One, you have given an impression that you want to play a new brand of cricket. A brand of cricket wherein you play players who are ready to take the high risks, who are ready to play the high risk game. Yes, of course, you will need them to exercise their wisdom at times. Just be wise when the ball's moving around, not have that gung-ho approach in your head always. But it's the intent. Not possibly, you don't want three anchors in your side, let's say. You want players, young of course, but who are much more on the aggressive side. That's point number one. Two, of course, is the fact that take nothing away from Virat and Rohit. They've served Indian cricket very well, both as leaders and as batsmen as well. But having said that, we've had 2 World Cups in which both of them have been leaders now in the last 2 years. Having said that, and it's not like these were the only World Cups that they've played in the T20 World Cup. They've been a part of the setup for good 6 to 8 years now. So they've played multiple World Cups, and as a nation now, as BCCI, let's say, I would say, you cannot afford to keep letting these opportunities go. You had 2 World Cups come thick and fast. These guys were given the chance, of course, as leaders, as batsmen. They've been part of the scenario for too long now, but they've not been able to get you the results. Now I've taken a call. I want youngsters now in my team. I want a new brand of cricket. I would want them to have a World Cup now, and not, let's say, go back and then say, okay, what do I do with this pool of talent now? What is the talent for if you can't give that talent the opportunity? So a high time rather, I would say, to take this hard call, and a call I think which one should stick to now.
Yeah, I mean, look, I am pretty much concur with what it is he said, because you're not going to be able to, build a new team if you keep going back to the old guard. If you're going to build something, you're not... See, one of the reasons we keep saying we should never use the IPL as a yardstick is because the IPL is, at the end of the day, a domestic franchise league. The stakes are much more different in international cricket, even bilateral.
And the dynamic changes.
Correct.
You could do well for a team, let's say, batting at a certain position, but maybe you don't even get that position in the Indian 11 when you're talking about the Indian playing 11.
Yeah. Look at someone like KL, who's had to himself also adjust to playing down the order, despite the fact that he's an opener.
Yep.
But he's had to adjust and play at 3, 4, 5. We don't know. I mean, that's the thing. You don't necessarily always get that opportunity, and I think a lot of these players in that sense are very, very lucky that they're getting this chance. Someone like a Shubman or Rahul Tripathi, who normally bats at 3, 4, can even open, is getting to bat there. With the Kohli there, he's not getting to bat at 5 at the earliest. 5 at the earliest. No other place he's getting to bat.
So what is my take on this whole thing?
And I would say even the most optimistic and loving person, of Indian cricket, let's say, or even the most loving fan for Indian cricket, would not want to see somebody like a Tripathi play ahead of a Virat. No matter what you think about Indian cricket, how optimistic you are, nobody will, let's say, be okay with the fact that a Tripathi is playing ahead of Kohli. You can't imagine a scenario wherein there's a squad of 15 in which Virat Kohli is there, but he's not playing at number 3 for tactical reasons, but a Tripathi. Nobody's going to accept that.
Okay, see, there was one particular aspect that we talked about in the Ranchi T20I, isn't it? That aspect was the experience in the batting, right? who were the two most experienced guys in that team? Surya and Hardik. Isn't it? Now, if you want to have a mixture of old and young, okay, let me just say that. Let me just go back to the 2007 T20 World Cup.
Yeah.
What clicked in that? You had the likes of Sehwag, Gambhir, Yuvraj, Harbhajan, Dhoni, right? All were part of the Indian setup, at least for a good 5-6 years. Good 5-6 years. Yuvraj had the most experience with 7-8. Sehwag also 7-8. Harbhajan for 10 years. It was not as if the team was entirely out of scratch. RP Singh, Sreesanth, all those guys, Rohit Sharma, Robin Uthappa, they had only 1-2 years of experience, right? No one was absolutely fresh out of the blocks, fresh blood, young blood, old blood. They didn't say all that. It was a perfect mixture of experience and youth. Going by that factor, I think you cannot afford to ignore some of the seniors going forward into 2024. You may want to need them, but two things will change. If they don't have a good IPL and if they don't have a good ODI World Cup, then and only then I think the seniors cannot have a legitimacy to say that, okay, we are coming back into the T20 setup.
Just basis seniority.
Yes. If they don't do well in the IPL, because that is one yardstick leading to the other one, which is the ODI World Cup. If India doesn't do well and if they don't have a good ODI World Cup, the seniors that we have mentioned, I guess they don't stake a claim in that. But ideally, looking at the bottlenecks that was there in the Indian batting, based on, see, you played 4 games, but you also lost 2. You lost 1 to Sri Lanka, you lost 1 to New Zealand. And tomorrow, if you don't win, that's it, series over. Within a short span of 5 matches, you lost. That's why, if you want someone very, very experienced at the top who looks to be regaining his touch and hope he stays that way for the next 1 year, get Rohit Sharma back as the opener. Your second choice can either be Ishan Kishan or Shubman Gill. Virat has to be a shoe-in.
So you're bringing in of the 3 players that we're talking about, bringing in 2.
Okay, so what will happen? You got Rohit, you got Virat, you got Surya, you got Hardik. 4 out of your starting 11, you're including Bumrah in the mix, 5.
Exactly what I was coming to.
5 out of the starting 11.
Jadeja as well, possibly.
Yeah, if fitness holds.
So if you're keeping 6 players, all of 6 who played the previous World Cups,
then those 6.
Then where is the transition?
Exactly,
then? If you
there is no transition.
55% to 60% of your team the same, have you really taken a step forward?
Okay, but then see, if I have
because
to include,
if you're going by that, then you're assuming that Jadeja and Bumrah don't come back, and you have the same, let's say, number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Isn't it? I'm only focusing on the batting bit. Only on the batting. Forget the bowling. Bowling.
We do. That's what I'm saying. If you include 2 batters up top, and let's say you bring in 2 people like a Jadeja and a Bumrah,
you already have Hardik and Surya.
Exactly. So where is the fresh blood that you're talking about?
See, because you'll have maybe Kuldeep as your lone spinner, but again, he's not exactly fresh blood either. He's been around the setup for a very long time.
Yeah. So see,
by fresh blood, let's call it fresh look or a new look maybe. Fresh blood, let's say in the case of Kuldeep, may not really hold true. But having said that, if you just if you have the same 6 players with whom you played last year's Asia Cup, okay, Jadeja wasn't there, but he was there in the previous World Cup. What has been the material change, let's say, then in the playing 11?
That is another problem. See, if you have the right young blood in the major aspects of fielding and bowling, okay, we are talking about the batting problem.
Also, by the way, like you said, if you bring in Rohit, who becomes an automatic opener, then first choice opener, then
Virat
Shubman cannot feature, to be very honest, because again, then you will be saying, why are we having 3 anchors right up top? Shubman Gill doesn't play that aggressive. Neither does Rohit anymore, nor does Kohli. Then you will say, okay.
Then you need an Ishan Kishan, who himself is inconsistent.
Yes. Exactly. See, your young players have not been able to step up on a very consistent basis.
But they've barely gotten chances.
That's the problem. Yeah. Now see, I've not included KL Rahul in the mix at all, because I think you'll have to look beyond KL Rahul in T20 cricket. You'll have to look beyond him. Considering that in 2 consecutive ICC T20 events, he's not performed.
And I'll tell you, I won't say the same for ODI, but yes, for T20s, because we've seen like a record of sorts now, a record he won't obviously be very proud of, and because it's not about the numbers really, it's about the options that India have right now. You've got plenty of options who can do the kind of role that KL Rahul does, perhaps at a much better rate. Yes, of course, his keeping sort of gives him a little edge, but you need, of course, if you look around, you will have people who can do the kind of role that he does. So you might as well turn to new players rather than going back to KL Rahul.
So that
in the T20
yeah,
format, I must
that
say.
is why see, I have answered the question of anchor. So if KL Rahul is in there, you'll have one guy at the top who can be a dasher. Yeah. Okay, that's one. Okay. You got Surya, who's already a dasher, but we are taking his form for granted.
We might experience
What if Surya doesn't have a good 2023 of
But I'll tell you what, now this Indian team is too dependent on Surya now. It's just too dependent on Surya now. You can't think of India playing a T20 without him right now.
Yes, and see, Hardik Pandya, he is going to be your de facto guy because unfortunately, you don't have a backup. You really don't have a backup for him. So that's why Hardik, Surya, automatic choices. But because you saw one small, you may say, no, there is an amber light for caution. You saw that there was no experience in the batting in Ranchi. And you lost one game in Pune also because your batting wasn't that good.
That is why I said if you're really playing the experience card, then the only person I'd want to bring back is Kohli. Because even Rohit, you know, the problem with bringing back Rohit, which none of us have addressed. A former captain who got appointed only a year back, now having to play under his successor, potentially, and we don't even know if it will be a successor.
Plus another problem, potential fitness.
Yeah.
And remember, Rohit will turn 37 in 2024.
Has he taken the Nexa test yet?
I'm not sure if he has.
Or the yo-yo test?
Yo-yo he would have. Yo-yo he would have because again, he was part of the team during the Kohli Shastri era.
And
he would have taken yo-yos.
Yeah,
those times it was mandatory.
See, we are mistaking the fact that Rohit may look unhealthy on TV, but then he may see the way how he performed in Indore. I think, see, his reflexes are there, his power is still there. He's been getting out to unlucky shots.
Let's also not forget that he did put in a dive or two a couple of times. Remember the time that he ran all the way back close to the rope. Very good effort in a match which was already sealed, but he still put in that dive, full length dive that he put in.
Exactly. So see, Shreyas Iyer can also be there, but then in a T20 setup, you can't play Shreyas and Surya on the same team because
you can.
How?
Of course
if there's Kohli.
No, if there's if Shreyas comes back, then Kohli is the door shut on him.
You can't have all of Kohli, Shreyas and Surya.
You can have 2 out of 3.
Yes.
At best.
You can only have 2
Exactly. So that's why my consensus is...
But then of course will be, again there's this flip side to almost everything that we speak of right now, because if you bring in, let's say, a Kohli and you don't give Shreyas the chance, then you're like, what is the future planning then? What is the way forward? Why are you wasting Shreyas' talent?
In fact, there's a comment there. You're talking about, looking the part and this, that. Harsh Khatri is pointing out something. He said that give these young guys 2-3 more series. If they don't fire, bring them, being the seniors, back. Does this young team fill you with hope? And do you think they look the part? They don't. Not entirely wrong, but again, a young team, you have to give them time. More importantly, and I hate saying this, but the old guard wala team didn't give me that much confidence either. There's a reason I had said before the T20 World Cup.
Actually did not give me the optimism with the bat.
Yeah.
Because remember, your team selection in the World Cups of the past...
3 anchors.
Exactly.
Always 3 anchors.
And the fact
at the top of the order.
And suddenly this whole new talk of needing somebody to bat at number 8 just tells you that you don't give enough... Are you telling the world and everyone that we don't have enough confidence in our top 7 to give us enough runs that we need? And what is this? Let's say...
why do you need a batter at 8? That 8 factor, remember, England play with 8, Australia play with 8.
England actually play with 11 because they have Adil Rashid coming in.
And New Zealand play 8. Why is the obsession with the number 8? Yeah. If India has 6 out and out genuine match winners with the bat.
And what's this? And I'm not able to get the right word for it right now. But what's this rather negative or regressive sort of planning, that you're always looking for that planning for that rainy day. You can't be having a rainy day every time that you need number 8. Okay, a rainy day can happen once in a while, but that doesn't mean you plan for that raining day only.
No, see, like I'll give you an example why a team like England does it. Again, two things. One, they've always had a history of producing good fast bowling all-rounders.
Yeah.
They, like how we produce batsmen and how Pakistan produces fast bowlers, they've produced pace bowling all-rounders for fun. Because you had someone like Ian Botham who inspired generations. Yeah. Okay. But just because that's their template doesn't necessarily mean
it has to be ours as well.
Also, more importantly, there's a reason why they have like 10 or 11 batting options, because they only bat one way. They tell their entire team that look, go slam bang, it doesn't matter, because you have Adil Rashid who scored a county ton and who used to be a spin bowling all-rounder at number 11.
By the way.
Exactly. Your Chris Wokes, who's a proper all-rounder, comes in at number 9 practically.
You know, your Mark Wood can click 150 and also swing the bat that fast.
Yep.
Exactly. So, but that is their template. India, and also again, this is where it comes to, we always talk about confusing formats. I don't understand the need for a number 8 in ODIs. Which is why, if you have to play a number 8, you would need it more in T20Is, where everyone is supposed to go slapdash bang bang. Absolutely. Why are you looking for a number 8 in ODI cricket when you know you have batsmen who play that style here? You have Rohit there, you have KL there also when he comes back, you have Kohli there who's still scoring hundreds for fun. Are you telling me you don't trust these guys, that they'll all flounder?
See, the problem is, India did prepare for a rainy day. The only problem is the rain never came.
No, it did.
No.
Yesterday it did.
But again, if that was the planning, then I'm sorry, you didn't plan. The rain didn't come. You didn't expect,
But see, that's what yesterday you only had 7 batsmen. You didn't have 8 batsmen.
You didn't.
Your number 8 was Kuldeep.
Kuldeep. Unless you count him as a batsman after the Bangladesh.
No, I don't. I count him as a bowler who can bat a bit and test.
Think of having, and again we're digressing here a bit with regards to needing somebody who can bat at number 8, but perhaps you need that more in the T20
That's what I was saying. T20Is, not ODIs, boss. Not ODIs.
Exactly.
In ODIs, if you have KL, Rohit and Kohli, you tell them, you all bat to your heart's content. Get us a 70-80 every single time. That's it. That's your problem solved.
See, the problem is in 2 consecutive ICC events, you have not played the right team.
Yes, of
course.
You haven't played.
Well, I can't tell you, I can't remember the team for 2021 because it changed so much.
And even 2022.
No, 2022 didn't change. That was the problem.
It didn't change. You were expecting and hoping that there's a change.
But it didn't happen.
In the bowling.
That Yuzi be given a chance. You had no idea why Ravichandran Ashwin was being given a chance after chance despite not picking any wickets.
So he did against small teams.
Yeah, but he did
couple of them here.
He took one against South Africa, but that was after the horse and bull.
And couple of them against Zimbabwe and all. So
yeah, so that's why. See, the problem is, young team fill you with hope. They don't. On current form, not yet.
But you have to give young teams time, yes?
And that is one thing potentially that they may not have. That's the one.
That's the thing. They don't have that many series.
They don't have that.
But that's a yet. What is to stop India to schedule more series?
Exact. Did we not see that happen in the whole of 2022?
2021 also.
We spent so much time playing T20. We played 3 tests the entire year.
See, we were the highest with 35 T20s.
And don't forget, a lot of those were parallel also, because you had the Island series was happening parallel to
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka. No, Island series was happening parallel to the England.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And
Zimbabwe,
Sri Lanka, what you're thinking about is 2021.
21, yeah.
Where Rahul Dravid that time wasn't the head coach, he had gone with them. Then you also had the ODI series against South Africa when the senior team had gone to Australia to prepare.
I
don't know what they prepared.
Yeah. They didn't prepare. So see,
they potentially 10 days ahead of schedule
to prepare for the conditions.
The problem is this time in the T20 setup you may not get time, because see, for all the Asian teams, August to September is booked because of the Asia Cup.
That's still. So tell me something. You have West Indies. You'll be having a tour, right? There'll be T20Is.
Yes, 3 T20Is.
Then what is to stop them from putting a 4 or 5 match T20I series in the gap between the Asia Cup and the World Cup? Tell the kids to go play.
Then Australia are playing.
They can play parallel series. Trust me, this is what was the joke I used to be making in office before the start of this year. I said, look, January is way too empty. They'll 100% call Sri Lanka. What did they do?
They called Sri Lanka.
There we go.
But
they will make a series.
They didn't call Sri Lanka. That was part of their.
I know, but they will make something.
Always,
they can do something.
Under an agreement, you can.
Yeah, but what's stopping them?
What's stopping a Bangladesh from coming for 3 T20Is?
Exactly.
Or Sri Lanka again?
Or Sri Lanka again, remember.
See, Australia are coming twice.
So Sri Lanka can come to
you
it.
needed the decider to decide.
And they call New Zealand again only. वही पहुंच जाएंगे.
They can. See, New Zealand are going to.
You played New Zealand, by the way,
twice in the span of 4 months now.
3 months. And you're playing. New Zealand are playing Pakistan twice in the space of 3 months.
You are playing Australia also twice. Let's not forget, in a space of 3 months.
No, not 3 months.
Not 3 months, longer than that. So no, actually no. Don't forget, we played them in September, no? So October, November, Jan, Feb, 4 months.
4 months.
But that's bilateral cricket for you now.
Yeah. And 6 months later, you're going to play another 3 ODI series against them.
That's what.
I'm telling you, they'll put a T20I series also, just for the banks.
Maybe,
and you're used to now. You're used to playing a T20 every alternate day. Yesterday you're playing.
And
one.
we as sports journalists are used to planning our life around such series.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Happens.
So
let's be fine.
The consensus that we have arrived is looking at the lack of hope. That, according to me, the lack of hope in the current team at this point in time, it may change, it will change. Get Rohit and Virat back.
That's not a consensus though, because I said only Virat.
Virat is a common consensus.
I think only.
That also I would say. That
begrudgingly.
I would say if push comes to shove.
Exactly, begrudgingly.
Which will happen.
Oh, it might not. You don't know. Someone might just suddenly, when Ishan Kishan scored a double 100 against Bangladesh, the clamour for him, including from us, was so much. Tell me tomorrow Rahul Tripathi scores a century against someone. Are you going to want to drop him?
See, if a double centurion can get dropped, a centurion can definitely get dropped.
But the circumstances are different.
What goes well for him is the kind of situation now.
Exactly. In T20s, you're looking to move forward. ODI is not really the case.
If Tripathi scores 100, you have a certain other players waiting.
Even if it's an 80 odd, I think even that's made a case.
Yeah.
He makes a case for himself even with an 80.
Because again, with circumstances in ODIs, you already had a Gill who was a solidified this thing.
Here, let's not forget that you are coming at the loss of 2 back-to-back World Cups.
So you really need to rebuild. You can't go lower. Can you go lower? You've lost how many ICC tournaments at this point?
How often yes, of course, the joke of course is that every year now you have something ICC coming up. But again, these World Cups, it's just because of COVID and everything that the scheduling happened to be so that you have all these
haphazard,
World Cups happening back to back and in quick succession. But this is not always going to be the case. For India though, it was a very good chance to redeem themselves in 2022 given what had happened in 2021. Now you're having to wait till 24. You can't in 24 say that okay, we've got the same setup and okay, I think now
is the time. I mean, then it's really a case of I don't know, trying to beat the flog a dead horse.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think so. There's no consensus.
Only Virat
but we've left the door very slightly ajar. Not shut it completely. Let's take some comments here.
So we have answered Harsh Khatri, MC square. I can't read Tamil, so you'll have to.
No, see.
Okay, so that's which one? Okay, hey man, losing doesn't matter. Winning doesn't learn anything. Improve the opener. Move ahead from the big name. Ishan is okay.
I'll take Harsh Khatri's comment. Love your jacket, hate your club. He's an Arsenal fan, by the way. 2 words for you, Mikhailo Mudryk.
Okay.
Anyway, just a joke, not for a fact.
Sony. If Rohit and Virat.
Can I also add a 2-word joke to it then? Too soon.
I'm pretty sure Noel will not appreciate this. Anyway,
meet Sony. Siddha said Rohit and Virat comes in T20, they'll rest in ODI like last year they missed big series.
That's also a possibility. Remember, we've been talking about and noises have been coming from the BCCI that this workload management thing is going to be lessened. The only way you can do that is demarcate this is our core for T20s, for tests and ODIs. Only way.
But meet Sony, okay. What if this doesn't happen after the ODI World Cup? Kohli and Rohit say, okay, done. Now let's focus on T20Is only. So they may not miss big series. They might want to let go of one format totally.
If that happens, then maybe the door is suddenly
open.
Let's say we have a super. Mr. Shekhar.
Mr. Shekhar, yes.
It's nice how we can recognize them from the profile pics.
From the profile pic, yes. Morning all. How many venues for this World Cup 2020? If new venues are allotted, don't you think it might be foreign to even India, just like Ranchi yesterday?
I don't think there'll be that many venues though.
Yeah.
You have how many venues normally for a World Cup?
6.
5 or 6 at most?
See, in 2011, where all did you host?
2, you had.
But 11 you had way more because you had 3 countries also
No,
sharing
in
the...
India itself. How much did you played in Mohali? You played in
In Delhi.
11.
Yeah,
11. You played in
You played in
Mohali,
Delhi.
You played in
Mumbai.
Kolkata, Mumbai,
Kolkata, of course.
Ahmedabad.
Did you play that?
Of course. Didn't you play the quarterfinal at the Motera Stadium?
Right,
India,
right,
Australia.
right.
You played in Bengaluru.
6.
You played in
Yes.
Chennai.
7.
You played in Jamta, Nagpur against South
played at
Africa.
the Eden Gardens.
That I included.
So 8.
You had 8 venues.
So by the way, you had 8 venues for the 2022 World Cup as well, which happened in Australia. Just that after the group stages, prior to the group stage, when you had those qualifiers taking place,
You only had them in
3
2.
venues were being used then also. But after that, it was just down to 4 to 5 venues.
Yeah.
And also to
Because you
answer
had
your...
the semi-final take place and the final then take place at the MCG.
At
You
the
had
G.
Adelaide being very busy right towards the end. So
See, India, there might be, whatever are the venues we spoke about, maybe an addition of the
There'll be, by the way, I think, and we should be in consensus with regards to few venues. There will be some short shots for sure. That's what we can.
There'll be like a Mumbai,
Delhi,
Bangalore, Kolkata,
Ahmedabad, Bangalore.
Ahmedabad, of course.
Bangalore you mentioned.
Yeah,
Delhi.
Bangalore, yeah.
Lucknow
Bangalore-
might be in the fray.
Lucknow, maybe Chennai also, who knows? Chennai, yeah.
Chennai, yes.
So
See,
these 5, 6, yes.
apart from this 8, the only
I don't
other...
think India themselves would want to keep one in Dharamshala though, but because you never know if India have to play.
No,
in
but I think
Dharamshala.
if you want to host the World Cup in Dharamshala, you very well must. It's one of the best venues in India.
It is.
So I think 3 additional
But up
venues.
north, I think Mohali could just be the venue.
Mohali is also a nice venue.
Nice venue.
Yeah.
I think.
But I don't think we're going higher up in terms of
maybe 8.
altitude.
If I have to look at 8 venues, which I've already mentioned, 3 more could be Barsapara.
Barsapara could be interesting.
Then
yes.
Hyderabad.
Barsapara also is not a very well used stadium in the sense that you've only had a handful of matches
Correct.
Yeah.
Barsapara would be
Yeah.
interesting.
Nikhil Charan Pahari is saying, why we put Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli in the same bracket? The age difference and fitness difference between them puts VK much ahead than Rohit. When Sachin
But we're not
played-
comparing the two.
Not comparing, we're putting all 3 in the same bracket
Yes.
because they are the 3
Yeah.
senior players. Remember, Kohli, former captain, Rohit, current captain, KL Rahul, vice captain.
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
it's the
And
seniority.
Nikhil,
I
the
think.
Sachin Tendulkar factor, he didn't play much of T20Is at all.
Not
he
much.
Was,
He never played T20Is.
Only one.
He played one T20 and then IPL.
That's
he was
it.
focused entirely on ODIs and Tests. thereafter.
Exactly. So that is why the Tendulkar argument until 40C doesn't count. So perhaps the swan song for all these 2 greats potentially could be 2024.
Potentially.
Potentially. It all depends on the 2023 ODI World
See,
Cup,
but
how
the-
India
but
does.
for the greats, what could be the icing on the cake, because they all happen to be
They
in that-
all
in
want to
the-
win a
is
World
the
Cup.
2023 World Cup.
Correct.
They all want to win a World Cup.
I think
Simple.
the dynamic could, in fact, and the narrative might just change if India are World Cup champions by the end of the
yes.
year. Maybe Rohit and Kohli actually
Call it a day
as
from one format.
individuals don't want to play the T20I format, because see, there is, of course, they've done enough over the years to call themselves world beaters and the absolute best out there. But there is that gratification of a trophy which only comes when you have it in your hands.
Yes.
So as cricketers, maybe that's what they want. Maybe there's a change of heart.
See,
Who
anyway,
knows? Who knows?
Rohit and it's not that Rohit and Virat have not had a easy success. They have had.
Rohit won 2011.
And no, Rohit won 2013 and 7.
Sorry, Kohli I
Seven.
meant. Kohli.
Kohli's won 11 and 13.
11 and 13.
The only thing missing from Rohit is the ODI World Cup, and for Virat Kohli, it's the T20 World Cup. That's it.
And also, neither of them have won it as captain. That is the
that-
for Kohli in
I
particular.
would say even
that
I
ship
think,
has
I think
sailed.
the World Cup would now mean something else for Virat Kohli also, because he himself in
Admitted.
a couple of
Yeah,
interviews,
yeah.
he said that we couldn't get the emotion around the team. We were too young.
Huh.
I had only been playing for India for a couple of years. I really had no idea why the emotions were running so high for people like Sachin Tendulkar, Zahir, Harbhajan. So he didn't have a lot of idea, but now he does perhaps.
Yep.
Now he's a different player. Now he's captain in India, and now he knows what it is to wait for that long.
Yes.
He himself has been in the mix for too long to know that these trophies don't come that easy.
Okay, so CA Mrityunjay Mishra is saying KL Rahul last 12 matches 650s, Ishan 0. But Rahul is
the
a
worst.
poor player of T20 who remains 2017-21 India's highest ranked batter in T20s. I didn't understand the last.
So he's saying that, he's being sarcastic.
Yeah.
He's saying that according to us, Rahul is the worst batter in this, that. So, anyway,
Yeah.
I don't think, I get your point. Statistically, Rahul
Yeah.
was actually best suited to T20s when he first came around, but I think he's evolved his batting style since.
Yeah.
And I think those failures, or the thing of taking more responsibility, has bogged down his more natural stroke play.
Yep. Chaitanya Baga is saying, why you depend on old horses? They played 3 T20 World Cups, still taking on those players. Think beyond that. Useful and replace those after retirement. See, we are not depending on old horses. We are saying that they still have the class. And look at it, Virat Kohli, even in a slump, his T20 record was phenomenal.
Absolutely.
In fact, even this World Cup, it's like, I think there was Austin Kuna who was pointing out in the comments
296
where he said
runs.
that we were dependent till this T20
Absolutely.
World Cup on Kohli and Sky. Now with Kohli gone, it's only Sky.
Yeah.
So every time Sky does well, India does well. When he doesn't, then
And remember, if you get Kohli in, you can have a buffer if Sky fails.
yes, because you'll have someone who can build
Because
an
see, Sky will fail. I'm not
His
saying.
His
His
style
style
of
is-
play,
it
his
lends
style of play is
itself
such. See, with Sky, the thing is, it's going to be choppy waters, let's say, because he's going to hit highs or he's only going to hit lows. There's no in between for
Yes,
Sky.
yes.
The dividends are super high,
Or super
but the
low.
lows are going to be super low as well. That's the nature. How many? We were discussing the other day when he got to his 100, possibly the first 50 runs came just of ram shots.
Yes.
How many players in this team can play ram shots firstly?
Yep. Okay, so Harsh Khatri is saying Rohit will be back as T20I.
That's
camp.
his,
Okay, but wait.
prediction.
What, we as a nation want India versus England, Holkar Stadium, World Cup 20. Kuldeep Sharan, I know. Anurag will also agree to that.
England
Yes.
team comes
Yeah.
to Holkar, by the way, they'll be sending the ball out of the stadium on multiple occasions.
Yeah, but remember, India have never lost in Holkar Stadium, so that's why. And yes,
I think we can end the show
we can
now.
end. Yeah. So yes, we hope that happens. Why Sarfaraz Khan not playing last Ranji match?
No idea.
I have no idea. Anyway, Mumbai are out of the
Because-
Ranji Trophy.
And neither did Delhi have a chance. Right?
Delhi were already knocked out.
Exactly.
So Maharashtra and Mumbai's match was tied on first innings. And Mumbai needed an outright win, which never happened. So Mumbai are out. Andhra Pradesh are through. Andhra is through after a very long time. So the defending champions Madhya Pradesh are through. Sarfaraz Khan, perhaps, if he's not playing for Mumbai, could very well feature in the third, fourth test squad. Who knows?
Maybe, let's say.
We're being speculative.
Yeah, because again, we don't know about Shreyas Iyer.
We don't know about Bumrah also.
Yeah.
Okay, so that is why.
Now, Bumrah has been bowling in the nets and they've
But
been a
but
few
but,
videos.
but I think in a ODI World Cup year, I think they won't risk him in a test match. That's my honest
Maybe,
assessment.
let's
But it's a prestigious.
Maybe no. If
And Krishna Srinivasan answers the Sarfaraz was suffering from a fever.
fever, that's not good.
Illness.
Yeah. So again, Bumrah might be tried out for the World Test Championship cycle if it happens, the final on
Could be,
June.
could be.
That might be the. But again, the same problem. You are rushing him back when he's not in rhythm, and that happened in 2021.
I don't think rhythm was the concern then. I think
Fitness
general
was.
fitness was.
Because remember, even Chetan Sharma admitted it, that we tried to rush him back
Yes.
for the World Cup. So,
Yes, Australia series will
This is
not
why,
be
like
easy.
Rohit said
Yeah.
the other day in that presser, he said that when Jasprit Bumrah says that he feels his back a bit,
we are
take it
listening to
very
him.
seriously.
Yeah.
And I'll end with Rishabh Chaturvedi's statement. Australia series will not be easy.
Oh, it'll be a challenge for sure, but that's the fun of it, right? You don't
Yeah,
want
but I
easy
think
series.
you will want to give a slight edge to India
Slight.
playing at home. That's
Slight.
why. Remember, India have to win 2-1 and ensure they don't lose, because if they lose, then it is advantage South Africa. Somehow. And if Sri Lanka do the unthinkable, then we could have Australia-Sri Lanka in the final.
too many permutations.
Too many problems. We'll come to that when the test season begins from 9th onwards. So now though, thank you so much for joining us for this special dugout. We'll be back for more sporting action throughout the day. Remember,
Tomorrow's a big day. We're gonna be
now it will be Hockey
throwing
World Cup.
A lot of videos at you tomorrow. So yeah.
And today.
Today is the last match for India in the Hockey World Cup
Yes, they'll be fighting for the honor of finishing 9th or 10th.
against South Africa. And then tomorrow is super Sunday. It will be first Novak Djokovic versus Stefanos Tsitsipas in the Australian Open final.
Rod Laver arena.
Can Djokovic get to number 10
And
or
number
can
22.
and 22 level with Nadal, or can Tsitsipas be the first Greek player in history to win a Grand Slam? There was one great Greek who did win, but he never played for Greece. He was from the US, Pete Sampras. Then as you move on, you have the under-19 Women's World Cup final. India versus England. England yet again, white ball giants, beat any age group, beat any format.
And then of course there's India, New Zealand, second T20I.
Second T20I, India versus New Zealand, and let's see how it all pans out. Whether it'll be a great sporting day for India or it'll be a sad sporting day for India. Djokovic, Tsitsipas, who's your pick?
Djokovic.
I think Djokovic just looked very imperious.
Yes, Joko and Harsh Khatri in straights.
Well, it's quite possible. He's won his last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean he's like a beast. But I
think Tsitsipas will push him further.
No, not in straights.
Yeah, not in straights, exactly. Not in straights.
Tsitsipas has been good.
So he's equal to MC square. The hockey match will start at 7 o'clock.
If I'm not wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, it's already started, I guess.
Yeah. So anyway, you can go and check that out now.
Yep.
We'll take your leave.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye. Vanakkam.
Subscribe, like, share, comment, everything.
Everything.